Have you ever felt like giving up, totally convinced that life was about to hand you another crushing disappointment, only for a single second to completely rewrite your future? Picture a regular, quiet evening. A man is sitting by himself in a packed, noisy café. Everything in his gut tells him he has been stood up by his blind date. He is humiliated, lonely, and ready to walk out. But a sudden, shocking interruption is about to alter his universe forever, along with the lives of two complete strangers. True care often shows up exactly when we are at our lowest point, and it can start with a question no one saw coming. Before we dive into this breathtaking moment, if you love deeply moving stories about second chances and unexpected bonds, take a quick second to subscribe to Kindness Journey. Hit that like button and drop your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's reveal what really happened that night. Michael Harper stared at his wrist, checking the time for the fifth time in just 10 minutes. The woman he was supposed to meet was now 35 minutes late. He sat staring out the window at the busy streets of downtown Chicago, aimlessly swirling a cup of coffee that had turned ice-cold an hour ago. At 38 years old, Michael felt like his time for romance had completely run out. He had given up on finding love, but his sister had practically begged him to try just one last blind date, swearing up and down that this specific woman was incredibly smart, deeply caring, and absolutely worth his time. But as the clock kept ticking, he just felt foolish. He reached into his pocket for his wallet, ready to pay and leave his dating life behind for good, when a tiny voice right next to his elbow made him instantly freeze. "Are you my new dad?" Michael stopped dead in his tracks. Standing right beside his table was a little girl with a head full of curly brown hair and oversized glasses. She looked no older than 6 years old, staring up at him with wide, completely innocent eyes. Before he could even process what she had said, a woman rushed over, her face turning bright red with pure panic and embarrassment. "Sophia," she gasped, grabbing the little girl's hand. "Oh my goodness, I am so sorry. You can't just walk up to people and ask them that." The woman turned to Michael, her cheeks burning. "I am so incredibly sorry. I'm Emma, and against all odds, I am your extremely late blind date." Michael couldn't stop himself. He burst out laughing. The little girl's wild question had completely shattered his frustration. "Well," Michael said with a huge grin, "that is hands down the most unforgettable introduction I have ever experienced." Emma let out a massive sigh of relief, realizing he wasn't angry. She quickly explained that her babysitter had backed out at the very last second. She almost called off the date completely, but Sophia had literally begged to come along because she wanted to make sure her mom was safe and see where she was going. As they sat down, Michael couldn't help but notice how exhausted Emma looked. There were dark, heavy circles under her eyes, yet the warmth in her smile when she looked at her daughter was undeniable. As the conversation flowed, Michael began to see the real picture. Emma was a single mother, pulling shifts at 2 different jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. Life had dealt her a brutal hand. Sophia's father had walked out before the little girl was even born, leaving Emma to battle the world entirely on her own for years. Yet she didn't sound bitter. She was completely focused on making sure her daughter had a joyful, beautiful childhood. Meanwhile, Sophia was happily coloring on the paper placemat, occasionally chiming in with hilarious comments that kept Michael laughing. At one point, she held up her crayon drawing and asked, "Do you think my unicorn looks happy?" Michael nodded seriously. "Incredibly happy." Sophia beamed. "That's because kindness makes everybody happier." Michael sat back, stunned by the deep wisdom coming from such a tiny person. As the night went on, Michael uncovered a beautiful secret about this mother and daughter. Every single Saturday morning, without fail, Emma and Sophia went down to a local community shelter to hand out homemade sandwiches to people living on the streets. Sophia was the one who personally put them together. "Mom teaches me that everyone deserves love and care," the little girl said proudly. Something inside Michael's chest cracked wide open. For years he had been trapped in his own head, bitter about his personal setbacks and lonely life. Seeing Emma and Sophia completely flipped his perspective. They proved that you don't need a flawless, wealthy life to show compassion. You just have to choose to care, even when things are incredibly tough for you too. Before they stood up to leave, Michael quietly slipped away and paid the entire bill. Emma started to argue, but he just smiled. Think of it as my little donation to your kindness fund. The story didn't end at the cafe door. The very next Saturday morning, Michael didn't sleep in. Instead, he showed up at the shelter, standing right next to Emma and Sophia. He spent hours passing out meals and listening to the stories of people he used to walk right past without a second thought. 1 week turned into 2. 2 weeks turned into months. What started as a disastrously late blind date naturally bloomed into a deep, unshakable friendship, and then into a powerful love. But more than that, Michael found his true calling. He began leading local charity drives and setting up major events to support struggling families across the city. Nearly 1 year later, on a chilly winter evening, the three of them were laughing and hanging ornaments on a giant Christmas tree. Sophia looked up at Michael, a mischievous sparkle in her eyes. "Do you remember when I asked if you were my new dad?" Michael smiled warmly. Looking down at her, "I remember every single word." Sophia grinned from ear to ear. "See, I told you I was right." Emma's eyes instantly filled with tears. Michael dropped to his knees, wrapping his arms around Sophia in a tight hug, before looking up at Emma. In that exact moment, the full weight of reality hit him. He had walked into that cafe a year ago, expecting another miserable disappointment. Instead, he walked out with a family, a profound purpose, and a lifelong lesson that true compassion has the power to completely reconstruct a human life. Sometimes a simple moment of understanding opens a doorway to absolute magic. Sometimes choosing to care builds a bridge that can never be broken. And quite often, the people who need a little help are the exact ones who end up saving us right back. If this journey proves anything, it's this. A gentle smile, a helping hand, or just a little bit of patience can alter a stranger's destiny in ways you can't even imagine. So as you go about your day, choose to be kind. You have no idea whose darkness you might instantly light up, or how much it might rewrite your own story.